Okay, now got my mug of tea. Now we're going to go to the final bit. This is the most exciting bit, and this is how we now actually start to view the essence of our system that we're going to create together. So we've done all the colors, we've documented it, that's perfect. Just keep in mind that we're going to document as we go. So think of it like a process. We're going to create the components, then we're going to assign the relevant uses that we need to assign to them, and then we're going to document them. Trust me, don't fall into, and I keep repeating this because I think it's so important, don't fall into the habit of designing, then you get to the end and be like, okay, now I need to document all this stuff. Trust me, it's long. Do it as you go. It will feel like a lot of work up front, but trust me, do that initial work up front and you'll be laughing for the rest of the project. And then when you're amending things, imagine when you're amending like your colors, for example, you're amending type, for example, just, go into your variables, amend it, and boom, you don't have to move anything around. All your frames are within auto layout frames, so it's going to expand or non-expand or not expand. Everything is flexible. We're trying to aim for absolute flexibility all around. I'm all about flexibility. If you can give me a solution that could be flexible and do things in less time, I'm here for that. And I'm here to show that to you. Okay, let's go back to our variables panel. Now, we've now created the primitives, right? Now, our primitives is basically the foundation of our colors, right? And as we keep going, we're going to create other primitives. We're going to get primitives in terms of our sizing. So we're going to get some like generic figures in place. Or we're going to have primitives when it comes to things like typography. So we know we have the primary type and the secondary type, and all those things there, we're going to then link into the majority of our system when we create the tokens. So the primitives gives us the absolute master control, if you will, to control all of the nitty gritty of our system to the very, 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 very finest detail. So if a color needs to be changed, we can change it. If it doesn't, we don't, right? Okay, now. Okay, so what we're going to do. Okay, so now we're going to create a new collection. And in that collection, we are going to call it color. So we've got primitives and we've got color. And these color, in this particular collection, is going to house all of our color tokens. This is where we use the information from our primitives to start now dictating rules, or applying rules to how our colors and how our elements work within our system. It will all come to life and I will show it to you because I'm getting very excited and very nerdy about it as well. So color, you can call it anything you want, color tokens, or I don't know, shade, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, as long as it's consistent and people can recognize it. For this example and for this particular client in this system, I'm going to call this color. So we know those are color tokens. Enter. Now, the first thing we need to do is think about how we want to use our first set of colors. Now, let me quickly close this real quick. We've got our brand colors. Give me 1 second. Let me just get rid of the rest of the interface. All right. So we have our brand colors, right? We've got our accent colors. We've got our functional colors. We've got our semantic colors. All of these colors now are literally in their primitive state, basically in the most basic form. They are just colors, literally just colors for now. But the colors become useful when we assign them to specific tasks. For example, we're looking at a page right now, right? And if we're designing a website, most likely we're going to design the page in light, with a light background. In some cases, some clients will require a light mode and a dark mode. So this is now where we start to assign those colors. So, for example, I'm thinking that snow will be the background color, right? Or maybe even white. Maybe we might even add, you know what? I'm going to add a white to this system as well, because I feel like white might, as you can see, like looking at snow right now on top of the white, we can see it offers a tiny bit of depth that can be useful with regards to, I don't know, we can encase a form within the snow box, for example. So a form has a little bit of distinction from where it is. Things like that, however, we're not trying to aim for like, AAA or AA accessibility standards. They're purely just elements with a little bit of distinction from whatever else is on the page, right? But for now, I'm going to leave that. But I think I'm going to keep that in mind. I might want to add the actual full-on white to our colors, our list of functional colors. In fact, you know what? Let's do that right now, so I won't forget. So I'm going to go back to our primitives, and in our functional colors, and I'm going to add a white. Also, I forgot to tell you guys, I added a transparent color basically. I thought about this, but by the time I thought about it, I stopped recording, so I need to explain myself to you. So basically, when we are assigning the colors to elements, so for example, if you're assigning a background color to a button, for example, right? And let's say in the colors in the buttons, we have various types of buttons. We've got our primary button, we've got our secondary button, we've got a ghost button. In Figma, I guess I know in Figma, if you assign a background color to something, and then you switch it for something that hasn't got background color, 9 times out of 10, Figma goes a bit weird. And when it comes to now to reverting back to that particular component, you've lost the color. Or, if you made a certain edit, it's not there anymore. So a way around this is assigning a transparent color. So basically, all I did was I duplicated this particular color, and then literally just turn the opacity from 100% to 0%. And then that's how I had a transparent color, right? So we're going to delete that because we don't need that because we already have it. So I'll show you how I'll use this as we are creating like other things like buttons, for example. I'll show you how we'll use this. But just so you know, so if you're looking at my screen, you're like, that wasn't there before. Well, that's why it's there. So quickly pause and add it now, or not add it, up to you. Okay, so I'm going to add the color white. I'm going to call this white. Not going to give it any jazzy name, just going to call it white 100. And then I will actually change that to a full-on white. Yeah, cool. That's there. So we're going to take that, we're going to create a new color card to go with that as well. And I think because there's no pair, I don't think that needs a pair. I'm just going to add yeah, because you can't use the white and the snow together, so we have to use it by itself. So all right, I'm going to get rid of this card, and I'm going to change the layer name to white 100. We're going to edit that hex code as well. I'm going to rename it to white 100. 100 because, well, white is white, right? That's the brightest you're ever going to get. And then go to assign a new white to that. Now, excuse me, you can't actually see that right now because it's white. So what I tend to do as well, I just add a little bit of a drop shadow around it. Nothing fancy, just going to add a drop shadow. And just so we can see that, and I like to, give it a bit of a blur, just make sure it's a little bit presentable. Maybe an 8-pixel blur, and then the opacity I'll change to 24%. Yeah, so at least you can see, okay, that is white, and the only reason why we're giving it the drop shadow is because it's white. And let me ensure that I've also labeled this layer as white 100. Cool. So we've added white to that. So what was I saying? Okay. So now we've added white to our palette. We're going to go back and we're going to now start assigning tokens. And this is how we're going to create the tokens. So initially, we're going to have a background and we're going to assign, let's just say, whites to the background, right? And that'll be our page background. So we're going to create a token for page backgrounds to tell the system basically that every page background will be white. And in this case as well, how I've been clicking on the mode button, this is where modes get introduced as well. So let me quickly create a quick token. I'm going to call this page background. And I use the / here to create the group automatically rather than highlighting and creating it. So page background / page background, I guess. Cool. And then we're going to create a mode by clicking on this button finally. And then we have two modes. We have light mode, which is going to give us a set of color rules for being in light mode. And I'll show you how we're going to activate that soon. And then we're going to have something called dark, another mode called dark. So basically it says, when a page background is in light mode, these are the colors you use. When it's in dark mode, these are the colors you use. Okay. So for our light mode, we're going to assign the color, and this is called aliasing, by the way. We're linking the colors within our library. This is how again, when it comes to amending certain things. And these systems are basically built for flexibility because they know things change. Like you and I know that the client's going to say, I want the sunshine to be a bit more sunshiny or give a bit of pop. And we can't go amending 20,000 elements that use the same color, but we have it at a foundational level. So we can edit it here and then roll out everywhere. And that's easy. That makes life easy. So page background, we're going to assign a white 100 to that. And then in dark mode, we are going to assign, go to library, we're going to scroll down and we're going to assign dark blue. Now, I'm not sure if dark blue will actually work as a background. It might be a bit too blue, but if it's close to black, I might roll with it. So we've assigned that. So now we know that light mode is this color, dark mode is this color. And when, I know when we get into development as well, they create their own sets of components or code to say, these are the light mode, respond when it's in light mode and do this when it's in dark mode. I'm not a coder, so I can't tell you specifically how it works, but like how we're doing it is very, very similar. There are parallels. Okay. So with that, and then let's think about what else we need. We're trying to think of the most basic things we need because again, we're going to build this system as we go. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to create some color rules for typography. Yeah, for text. So we're going to create another color variable, and I'm going to name this text, and then we're going to do a /. I'm going to call this one title -text. So this is for our titles, and again, it's created a new group using the / method. Again, a very, very simple way of doing things. And I'm going to assign so the title, so i.e. basically, real quick, nope. Let me close this. Just create an aggravation for myself. Come on. Okay. So as we're looking here, we've got a title, and that we've actually assigned that to a King's Blue, and body copy, we assigned that to King's Grey 500. So we're going to actually make that an official rule. So when we're using these elements in our design, it will just behave itself. So title text, we're going to assign, go to libraries, we're going to assign that as King's Blue. And then in dark mode, we're going to assign King's Blue 100. And we're going to quickly test that out. And I'm a big fan of testing things out as we go, just to ensure that my ideas are correct. And, I really need to trust what I think initially, but it never hurts to test things out. So we're going to duplicate this again, and we're going to now create body text. Now, body text in light mode, we are going to make it Grey 500. And in dark mode, we're going to make it Grey 300. That might be too gray. Maybe we'll make it snow. There we go. We'll make it snow. We'll make it snow. Okay. So therefore, we've created now the first set of rules within our system. And now I'm going to teach you how this works, how to literally implement this in our design. And we're going to take what we learn now and we're going to run with it throughout the rest of the project. Okay, so let's close this for now. So remember I said that we're going to assign something, and then, when we're working in things, we're going to basically cut our time in literal half by just changing a few buttons. I think I've said this before. If I haven't said it, I'm saying it now, guys. So we have a frame that we're going to use. Let's just say, for argument's sake, this is going to be the beginning of our new website, right? So this is going to be the first page. I'm going to call this lights, just so we can have an indicator. And then with that, we're going to add our elements to it. So within this particular element right here, we're going to drag that onto our page. Let's make the frame a little bit bigger so we can see what we're doing. And I'm now going to assign our latest rules. So this is a title. This is a title component, right? This is a title element. So title right now just has literal a primitive color attached to it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign, let's move my head out of the way. I'm going to assign the rule to say primary text. Well, but title text basically. So here we're going to go to our libraries. So we're going to click on the color swatch itself. We're going to be in our libraries. We're going to slow down. We're going to scroll down, and we are going to select title text. Nothing changed because I was already using the blue. So just so you know. And then I'm going to select the body copy here. And again, click on the swatch. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to assign body text here. Okay. Now this is where the magic happens, guys. Grip, like, be prepared. So in Figma, it allows you to apply modes to a frame. Now, in some circumstances, you might not see anything, right? So here you see literally nothing here. Okay. In this case, what you will do, if you see nothing and you want to apply it straight away, is you would go to your fill, go to your library, your fill panel, go to the libraries and assign, for example, page background. So we know the fill for this is linked to the page background token. Okay. Now, as we've done that, we can now see there's a button that's appeared here. And this, my friend, is what I call the apply variable mode button, as it's called. But I call this the mode switcher. Okay. So we're going to call it the mode switcher because this is easier to remember. So now, anything we put in this frame, according to the principles that we've set, i.e. light mode uses white, anything within the light column, for example, all of these colors will adhere to those same rules. So if you're in light mode, these are your colors if you've been attached to a certain element. If you're in dark mode, these are the colors you need to do to attach a certain element. Okay. All right. So now we're going to switch this to, we're going to click the mode switcher button. We're going to go to color. And even though it says light auto, that, my friend, is just a placeholder. Sometimes it's not that clever to recognize when you want to use dark mode or light mode. So you need to literally be literal and say, I want dark mode. Now, this is where the magic happens. So imagine you finish designing the page. You've got all this text here. Let's just say you create some imagery and the layout's looking really beautiful and stunning. And you're like, yeah, this is perfect. Typically in the past, we would duplicate the page and then we'll have to now start manually changing the colors to match the palette that we had in mind for dark mode. That, my friend, is long. We don't need to do that because Figma made it so easy for us in the sense that we can literally design our page, make sure we attach a lot of all the tokens that need to be attached to whatever element is on that page. Then we'll duplicate that page and go to the mode switcher and literally switch the mode from light to dark. Now, what has just happened is all those colors that we've assigned to dark mode, let me label this as dark, has now changed its colors, right? So, I know, right? So where we've assigned page text, and that was Kings 500, Kings Blue 500, in dark mode is now Kings Blue 100, where this was gray 500 or 300, I think 500, we've now assigned this to snow. And that's how we have dark mode and light mode. And that's the purpose of our system. This is how we can now start to piece our system together to really operate for us. And it doesn't just stop at color. As we are now going to create more elements, like for example, we're going to create type, we're going to create more things to put into our collection design system. You're now going to experience how we use this even in responsive design, because now we're going to assign, for example, certain parameters. So for example, on the desktop, we're going to set that we're designing from a 1728 pixels, and that's desktop, and we assigned the page width, for example, will be 728 pixels. I'm going to assign that to what this mode will be called desktop. And then we'll have another mode called tablet, and then we'll assign, 728 pixels as that width. And then what we will do, we'll therefore apply those sums by simply applying them here. All right. So when we've applied certain number variables, they'll start to appear within this panel. Then we can therefore assign them. So then when we're now creating our responsive layouts, all that's going to happen is we're going to click a button and it's going to flex itself without us doing very much work. Yeah, give or take, we might need to tweak certain things. We might need to, tweak certain sizes of certain things to fit certain elements or certain pages, or maybe some text is a bit big. That's the creative process. Nothing's going to be perfect off the bat. It's all about tweaking. But we now have a system that we can use to tweak, and therefore we can make the best product we can make. Yeah. So guys, we've now set up our colors. So now as we're moving forward, we're going to set up buttons, and with the buttons, we're going to set up, buttons for colors for buttons. For example, we're going to create a button tokens with colors, and then we're going to create button tokens for so many things. We're going to create tokens for so many things. How wide would our field text field be? How big would our font be on tablet? How big would it be on desktop? How big would it be on mobile? We're going to set that all in here. So therefore, all we need to do is be copying and changing modes. And that, my friend, is how we become an efficient designer, an efficient technician at these things. And of course, not to forget, you need to document everything as we go. Okay, I'm going to leave it off right here because we've done color. Now, the next thing I like to set up is typography, and that's what we're going to work on in the next video. I hope that helps. Subscribe and all that good stuff. See you in a bit.